Hi, welcome back to Movie Review Mom. Thanks for subscribing. Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. And thanks for watching my movie reviews. So today I'm reviewing the movie The Lighthouse. This movie is rated R. It's 1 hour and 49 minutes. And the Movie Review Mom grade I gave it is a B plus, A minus, but mostly a B plus, I think. So first of all, I've been traveling a lot and I hadn't even watched the trailer. So I didn't really know anything about this movie other than who the two stars were of the movie. And that was enough to draw me in. And wow, I was not disappointed. First of all, in a quick nutshell, while some people will be put off by the choice to film in black and white, film lovers who enjoy artistry will be intrigued. It was shot on 35 millimeter black and white double X 5222 film, 5222 film, in order to look like the photography that was used back in 1890 when this story was supposed to take place. It was the perfect choice. Film critics and cinephiles will absolutely love the look and feel of this movie. Almost every film or every frame in this film is a masterpiece. Truly, for that, it gets an A in my opinion. Written by Max and Robert Eggers, this psychological drama takes you on a very uncomfortable journey to insanity that is loosely based on a real life story in 1801 about two Welsh lighthouse keepers, both named Thomas. It's a nightmarish tale that may not be your cup of tea. However, no one can deny the skill and creativity that are used in this movie. Again, it's so well done. It's a bit of a dark comedy and an expose on machismo, you could say, maybe. But mostly it's just um, an experience, I guess I could say. So I recently had visited the oldest lighthouse in the state of Maine and learned a little bit about the history of lighthouses and their workers. So I was especially interested to see what insights that this movie would provide. And it's less about the lighthouse, obviously, and more about the men. But the lighthouse offers a dramatic background. And in fact, the lighthouse was constructed in Nova Scotia as a set piece, and the citizens of the area where they built this loved it so much, thought it looked so great, they petitioned to keep the lighthouse. But ultimately, it was decided to tear it down because it was unsafe. I mean, it wasn't like a real lighthouse. Anyway, some quick tips for parents. Kids, first of all, will be bored out of their minds, and so will some adults who, again, don't like the black and white um, aspect of the movie, and that it's just watching these two men day after day. That being said, I keep saying it is extremely well done. Also, tips for parents who really probably will not want to watch this with their kids, but a man beats up and kills a seagull. And I'll have you know that no birds were harmed in the making of the movie. And I learned that it was actually a rubber seagull. So there's that. There's some profanity, including F-bombs. You hear a man fart several times, although the sound was actually added in post-production, which I think is hilarious. You see a woman's naked chest. You see a long scene of a man pleasuring himself and lots of alcohol, some disturbing images, and some violence. Again, there are some things that you don't want your kids to see in this movie. The positive themes are perseverance, companionship, manliness, I guess, if you could say that that's a positive, the machismo gone too far, sanity, and humanity. Now, some things that I really liked are, first of all, Willem Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. They were absolutely fantastic in their roles and gave a master class in acting, both of them. Fantastic. And there could and should be Oscar buzz and nominations for both of their performances. It's a good thing, too, because they're the only ones in the film, other than you see this mermaid slash woman in a few scenes played by Valeria Karaman. It's really their movie, and to carry a movie with just two people is quite a feat. Just fantastic. And in fact, both of these actors reached out to director Robert Eggers because they loved his movie The Witch so much, and they said, we want to be in your next movie, whatever it is. So when Robert and his brother were working on writing the script, um, they kind of wrote it for these two actors, knowing that they were going to be in it. I never saw The Witch. I'm kind of intrigued because so many people have said that, oh, it was so fantastic. I don't really like horror movies. And in fact, this movie is called a horror movie. And it's not the classic horror movie, but more of a nightmare type of a movie. There are some gorgeous camera angles and cinematography by Jaron Blashke. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but he will probably be nominated for an Academy Award as well. Again, just breathtaking what he was able to do. I really got a kick out of Willem Dafoe's character's toasts before meals. They always cracked me up. And he had the best and most entertaining films in the movie by far. What a character. And he did it so well. Apparently, filming was really brutal because of the harsh conditions, because of the weather. And the actors hardly spoke to each other off set other than their lines when they were on set. They finished the day exhausted, and then they would rest in solitude until the very next day. Their accents are interesting. Willem Dafoe's accent is kind of a combination of several different things. However, the accent that Pattinson used is an actual accent used in certain areas of Maine. I didn't hear it when I was in Maine. I was in pretty typical touristy places. And then, like I said before, the movie was actually filmed in Nova Scotia. The Eggers brothers spent a lot of purposeful research time ensuring that the period piece was accurate. Again, in accent, language, sound, dress, style. I mean, even the foghorn sound was one that they had researched because they wanted it to be accurate for the time. Both Willem Dafoe and Pattinson used their real facial hair for the movie, although Pattinson had to dye it because he's generally more blonde in his mustache. And then Willem Dafoe wore prosthetics to make his teeth look so horrible. And he looked great. There's a surprising amount of humor. Some people are calling this movie a comedy. I don't know that I would go quite that far, but it is very comedic in moments. Now, some things that I didn't like is that, first of all, there's no dialogue for the first 7 minutes when the movie begins. And that sets the tone that you know this movie is going to be different. The pacing is very different as well. That constant sound of the Lighthouse foghorn was so annoying. That's how they really are. Like I said, I went to the oldest lighthouse in Maine, and it was doing its thing. And I thought, first for the first few minutes, it's charming. And then you're like, okay, if I had to work here, that would drive me nuts, and maybe to the brink of insanity. I don't know. Now, the plot might confuse and bewilder some people because there really isn't one. It's basically an artsy fartsy demonstration of the evolution of madness, and one of those movies where you're watching the day-to-day activities of two people. Things happen, but I wouldn't say necessarily it's a plot. And then the original story is that they're supposed to be on this lighthouse island basically for 6 weeks. And long before some really crazy things start happening, they start going crazy. Of course, they didn't have the internet to entertain them, but I'm thinking 6 weeks isn't that long. Other than that foghorn, you shouldn't go crazy in 6 weeks, right? But some things happen, and that triggers some stuff. Another word about the accents is sometimes they're so thick that especially in Willem Dafoe's case, it's hard to quite understand what's being said. But other than that, Thomas Wake, who's played by Willem Dafoe, says, "You have a way with words, Tommy," he says to the other Thomas. And then, well, I'll tell you, I was going to start telling you some more of the lines, but go to moviereviewmom.com and you can see some of the lines that I write down. Funny, interesting, and other things that I include in my movie review when I write them at that website. So go ahead and check that out as well. Thanks for subscribing. I really appreciate your support. Go ahead and watch another movie right now, or movie review, I should say. Go ahead and watch a movie too. Bye for now.